Welcome back, folks, for a new episode of Leaked. Now recently, the Rheinmetall design Skorpion Waffenträger has appeared, and I thought that this vehicle is going to be the Tier 10 replacement for the Waffenträger of E100, but it turns out it is going to be a Tier 8 premium German tank destroyer, which is kind of awkward because we're getting the Kananang Jagdpanzer at Tier 8 and the Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger at Tier 7. So premium German tank destroyers are becoming premium Russian heavy tank status. There's so many of them. So here's a little history about the Waffenträgers. Waffenträger stands for gun carriers, and they're basically large caliber anti-tank guns on a small, lightly armored chassis. So initial problems the German had was transporting their 88mm L71 to and from battle. And when they were trying to evacuate or retreat, they would have to destroy their own weapons to prevent them from falling into allies' hands. So that's not a good use of resources because you're destroying your own weapons. So the Waffenträger program was designed initially to carry the 88mm L71 to and from battle. So initial projects for the Waffenträgers were called the Ardelt projects, and it started out with the Lecter Waffenträgers. So Lecter Waffenträgers means light gun carriers, and they carried the 88mm L71. The Krupp-Steyr Waffenträger was one of them, so this is where this tank fits in. That's kind of neat, but here is one version. Here's another. So they were based off the Panzer 38's hull armor and suspensions. So the production model was this one, where 7 of these were actually made. The surviving vehicle is in Kubinka, Russia. It's displayed next to a steering mill and a Ferdinand. So, yeah, it's a smaller than a Jagdtiger, like anti-tank weapon used by the Germans. So later on, they were developing larger Waffenträgers with the Panther chassis and a 128mm gun, the same gun that's on the Jagdtiger. So here is one design by Krupp, and the GW Panther was also another one. So this is actually a Waffenträger. It is designed to carry the SFH-18, which is the derp cannon, the howitzer that's on the Hummel. So this is actually a Waffenträger, surprisingly. And basically, instead of the Lecter Waffenträgers, they were designing now to carry larger caliber guns like the 128mm Pak 44 that's on the Jagdtiger, the L55, not the L66. The second gun on the Jagdtiger never actually existed, so they were using the L55, the first cannon. And as you can see, they used the Panther chassis and to carry. It's a reduced armor chassis for the Panther's hull, not the actual Panther's hull, because that would be too heavy. So it has about 30mm of armor instead of 80mm. So it's based on the chassis of the Panther with a 128mm gun. Now what is interesting is the K43. K43 is designation for artillery piece. So if you're going to have this description without showing you the picture of the tank, this vehicle is likely categorized as a field artillery piece because the K designation. If it has the Pak 44, that's for tank destroyer. That's categorized as a tank destroyer. And if it has the KWK, that's a main battle tank or tank. So that's how the Germans categorize their weapons, I guess. If it has the SFH with the GW Panther, that's a field artillery piece, large field artillery piece. If it has the LEFH designation, that's for light field artillery piece, but whatever, small details. So as you can see, here are some designs by Rheinmetall. And basically the Skorpion is out of the running for the Tier 10 replacement for the Waffenträger of E100. But I think, please, have this vehicle as a Tier 10 replacement. I would be so happy. It has a 150mm derp gun. Nice. But yeah, later on, Rheinmetall and Borsig came together and designed a few Waffenträgers. So this is the Tier 8 version that you know and love right here. They also have a smaller chassis with 5 road wheels instead of 6, and one with 4. So these are pretty crazy. And this one is for the 88mm L71. Alright. And to end off this history or semi-history branch, they also put a gigantic derp gun on the Panther's hull and call it the Storm Mauser Panther, or Storm Panther if you will. So it's a 210mm, I believe, derp gun on a Panther's hull. And let's finish off with the Storm Tiger, because why not? This shell is so huge. So that's pretty much the history for the Waffenträgers. Now, the Waffenträgers never actually came about because the lack of resources, and they were basically losing for the Germans. So, wah wah wah. And here are the in-game models for the Skorpion Waffenträger. As you can see, it's based off the Panther's hull. So a lot of tanks were based off this chassis. Pretty popular tank. What is interesting is the muzzle brake for the gun. Looks like a Tesla coil. If you ever played Command and Conquer, Tesla tanks were the shit. It's actually pretty amazing. Fires bolts of electricity and destroy other people. Hell yeah. But based on reality, Tesla tanks will never actually exist because the Faraday cage effect. So it's a lot of physics and electricity. I don't want to bore you, but Tesla tanks will never actually make it. So that sucks. But this gun is basically the top gun on the Ferdinand or the Yak Panther II, and the first gun for the Rheinmetall Borsig. It is 128mm Pak 44 L55. So the actual gun for the Yak Tigers back like 70 years ago, but whatever. So here is the collision model. As you can see, it has no armor whatsoever. 30mm at best in the front. Side armor is about 15 or 20-ish millimeters. So it's comparable to a AMX CDC. What is also interesting is that the color for the tank without the texture or without the mesh yet is green, suggesting that this is actually a French vehicle, but it's going to be a German, don't worry about it. It's a German tank. But it's comparable to the AMX CDC. The gun's a lot bigger though, a lot bigger. So armor wise, no armor whatsoever. And here are the in-game stats. So it is going to be a Tier VIII premium German tank destroyer, which will cost around, let's say 8,000 to 10,000 gold. The Yak Tiger 88 costs 10,000 gold, so somewhere around there. Hit points is 1,300, which is quite chunky for a tank destroyer at Tier VIII. Average is about 1,000, so it can take a hit. Engine power is 650, weighs about 40 tons, so the power to weight ratio is pretty good, 17 horsepower per ton. That's pretty good. Top speed is 60 kilometers per hour, very fast. Reverse is 20. Hull traverse is 30 degrees per second, which is, I think, the same as a Hellcat, so that's decent. That's pretty decent. Turn traverse is 18.8 degrees per second, which is the same as a Rheinmetall Borsig at Tier VIII. Terrain resistance is 1.15 for hard, 1.4 for medium, and 2.9-ish for soft. That's heavy tank standards. Yeah, that's kind of crappy, but whatever. View range is 370 meters. Radio range is 420-ish meters. Holy crap, the radio sucks. Yeah, the radio is actually kind of bad. Oh, geez. Hull armor is 30 at the front, 16 at the sides, 20 at the rear. So likely 16 millimeters for the casemate or the pseudo turret. Gun is 128mm K43, which is basically the Pak 44 L55. So damage wise, it's 500 damage per shot and 246mm penetration. So it is the same gun that's on the Rheinmetall Borsig, the same gun, the same top gun for the Ferdinand and the Yak Panther II. So the rate of fire is pretty low, 4.22 rounds per minute. DPM is only 2,000 or so. What? The Borsig has like 2,700 DPM. This is actually pretty low, reloads every 14.2 seconds without a gun rammer, or 13.9-ish seconds with a gun rammer. That's a slow ass reload. It's almost the same reload time as the ISU. A very good crude ISU has the same reload. That's crazy. Accuracy is still pretty good, 0.336. Aim time is alright, 2.2 seconds. Gun depression is Russian, 5 degrees. Gun elevation is actually pretty crap, 8 degrees. Okay, so the radios suck. The reload really suck. Gun depression is workable, alright, it's fine. And the gun elevation is kind of crap, but it has a lot of health and pretty mobile for a tank destroyer. Alright. And let's compare the Skorpion Waffenträger with the Rheinmetall Waffenträger, because both tanks have no armor whatsoever and fully traversable turret. So it's the closest I could think of. But armor wise, yeah, both tanks have no armor. Health wise, yeah, the Skorpion has a lot more health. 1,300. The average is only 1,150. So a lot more health to go around. Power to weight ratio is 17, which the average is only 12. So this has a lot more mobility than the average. And the Rheinmetall has only 10 horsepower per ton ratio. That's god awful. Hull traverse is not as good, but way better than the average, which is 27. So that's good. Turret traverse is the same as the Rheinmetall, so 18.8 degrees. Top speed is way better at 60 kilometers per hour. The average is only 36, so way faster. Reverse is 20, which is way better because the average is only 12. Terrain resistance is below average, so that sucks. For hard, yeah, pretty much crap all the way around. So it has the heavy tank category of terrain resistance, so that sucks. View range is 10 meters better, but it's on average for all tank destroyers at tier 8 now. Radio range is actually god awful in my opinion, because 420-ish meters, that's like Russian heavy tank at tier 7, so this is pretty much crap. And you have to stick close to your allies all the time, so yeah. It has the mobility to do so. So, alright, that's fine, I guess. So, the gun is the same gun, but less DPM. Way less. So, penetration is the same. Damage is the same. Rate of fire is not that good. 5.44 rounds on the Rheinmetall in comparison to 4.225 rounds per minute. Yeah, that's 1 round and a half-ish and a quarter-ish less. That's crazy bad DPM. The average DPM on a tier 8 tank destroyer is 3,200. Holy crap. 3,200 for the average DPM? This is like half of that. Or at least like 66% of that. That's crazy bad. Holy crap. Accuracy is the same as the Rheinmetall, so is the aim time. Gun depression is the same, but gun elevation is way crappier. 8 degrees. That sucks. So basically, the Skorpion Waffenträger has the worst DPM out of all tier 8 tank destroyers. Wait, which one has a crappy DPM? I think the T-28 prototype. Well, 2,500, still a little bit better. Holy crap. Yeah, it has the worst DPM. I cannot think of another tank with less DPM than the Skorpion. Holy crap. Yeah. The British has crazy DPM. The Charioteer? 2,400, still better. Oh man, don't even compare with stuff like the SU-101. It's ridiculous. Yeah, 3,000 DPM. Yeah, so basically the worst DPM out of all tier 8 tank destroyers. the gun is hard to handle, only 5 degrees, and gun elevation is kind of crap too, only 8 degrees. So it's hard to handle this gun. So it's like playing a Chinese medium tank. Whoa, whoa, whoa. Hold on, I have an idea. I have an idea. Now I'm typing. So let's compare it with this thing. Yeah, why the hell am I? Yeah, fuck it. So basically, it is like playing a Tier VIII medium tank. It has the penetration better than a medium tank, but the DPM is about the same. Holy crap. It's like playing a Tier VIII medium tank. Really? How about the CDC? CDC. Okay, DPM is about the same as a CDC. Top speed is the same. Holy crap. It's like playing a CDC. How much gun... well, the CDC has crazy gun depression and gun elevation. So it's like playing a Chinese version of a CDC with more DP or more punchy gun. That's funny. And the final opinion about the Skorpion Waffenträger is that this vehicle is basically a Chinese copy of a AMX CDC. It lacks the gun depression and gun elevation and the DPM that's normal for a Tier VIII tank destroyer, but the trade-off is you get more health and more mobility with a faster top speed. So that's the trade-off. Now the turret traverse is the same as the Rheinmetall, so you cannot go brawling. And the terrain resistance is pretty much crap, like a heavy tank. So you cannot go circle strafing or go brawling with other vehicles because of lack of armor. So you have to play this vehicle like a sniper, traditional sniper, like the Rheinmetall. But the radio range is also pretty much crap. So you have to get in close to your allies to see targets by radio. Now, is this tank destroyer worth it? Well, you have to think about it this way. If you're playing a T-34, and if you manage to penetrate with a high penetration and high alpha, you get a lot of credits. So this vehicle is basically the same as a T-34. You have the high penetration and the high alpha, but you lack the DPM. As long as you survive and continue to deal damage, you will earn a lot of credits if you manage to handle the gun depression and the gun elevation. So if you manage to do all of those and survive while keep shooting the gun, you will earn a lot of credits. So if this vehicle costs around 8,000 gold, I say it's not that bad of a deal if you manage to handle the gun. But if it costs around 10,000 gold, like the Yak Tiger 88, I would say skip it and buy a Tier VIII heavy tank, but that's up to you. So this is not a noob-friendly vehicle, in my opinion, because of the gun depression and the gun elevation. So yeah, be aware of those lacking parts of the gun. But it has a high penetration and the high alpha. DPM is not that great, so you have to play this thing carefully and manage your shots. But otherwise, it's not a bad vehicle, so it's still decent. But thank you guys for watching this video. Hope you guys enjoy it. If you like my videos, subscribe to me on YouTube, follow me on Facebook and Twitter, support me via Patreon. That always help me out a lot. And I also streams on Fridays, so follow me on Twitch. And as always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.